What's up everyone? Lance Hedrick here, and today we're gonna look at the Mazzer Omega. So this has been one of the most anticipated releases from hand grinders in a while. It's Mazzer's first ever hand grinder, Mazzer's first ever home grinder. And this is a 47mm grinder made from scratch by Mazzer themselves. Now, we all know Mazzer as being the titans of the industry for especially conical burrs, but they're known for really nice flat burr systems as well. You'll see them across the world in different coffee shops with their Mazzer Major EEs or Mazzer Super Jollies. They're everywhere. Different types of Mazzers all over the place. And a lot of very famous grinders are using their burr sets, like the Niche with the 63mm Mazzer cone burr or the Weber Key with the 83mm. So they're all over the place. People love Mazzer. They're established in the industry, and now they've come out with this beautiful looking hand grinder. Now, first and foremost, I don't know why I'm getting so confused. First and foremost, let's just take a look at how it packs up and sits. I absolutely adore it. It is, we have the anodized aluminum, the axle is stainless steel, up here we have steel, and we have a carbon fiber handle right here. So of course, the materials to make this are very expensive. They're very nice, they're very high quality. Now, the magnets that hold the handle to the side are incredibly powerful. You can just hold the handle like that and it's staying. Now the idea is you have these tiny little magnets and they kind of fit on these two rims right here. So we have perfect magnetization right there. Now they have brilliantly, I think they have the knob that just sits right here. So when it's just sitting on your shelf, you don't have that obnoxiously large handle that just sticks out like this. That's a pet peeve of mine. That's why I love so much the Time War Chestnut X in my massive hand grinder video, because the handle comes to the side, but even that has a little bolt because the knob sticks out. This, you just take the handle off, you take the knob off, set it there, and then boom. That is the tightest profile of most any hand grinder I've seen. So first and foremost, that's a huge plus for me. I absolutely love it. And it comes with this slick little traveling case, which is nice, but I don't really use traveling cases, so we're gonna throw that off to the side. Now, the adjustment collar on this is external. It's on the top. You can twist it like so. All right. Now, this is actually one of the biggest downsides of this grinder. So the adjustment collar is 33 microns per click. So it's essentially what the Comandante is, but at least with the Comandante, you have the option of switching out the axle and using the red click system, which halves that down to 15. Now, granted, a lot of you out there don't use red click. So for a lot of people, maybe this isn't such a huge deal, especially if you're doing filter coffee. I think 33 microns is just fine. But when you're at the Turkish and espresso settings on this, you don't really have much room there to dial in. You have 33 micron steps, a 1/30th of a millimeter. So that's not ideal. That's not something that I love, right? Now, the catch cup is nice. It twists in with like a 90-degree turn, and it fits in really nice and tightly. But that's what the catch cup looks like. And the bottom is not removable, so never mind. So down here, we have a knob, so it looks like you have an adjustment here, but in reality, that's just to undo the burr, which we'll do right now. So the way that they have built this is so that you have true zero every time you disassemble and put it back together. So you never have to recalibrate, you never have to realign. They have it robustly built so that every time you put it back together, it is back to that exact alignment. Now what's unique about this, and I've not actually seen on any of the dozens of hand grinders I've used, is it actually has that similar system that you have in a lot of like in the Fellow Ode and other flat burr systems. So you have this little metal piece that fits into the cone in order to align it with the system, with the drivetrain. Well, it's not one to sit there, but you get the idea. So it's the same thing in like I don't know, in like the Shioleo and in a lot of those 60mm grinders. It's in the Fellow Ode. You have something to kind of align it, and so the same thing here. I've never seen that in a hand grinder though, and I think that's pretty unique. But it's one of their ways of ensuring that it maintains its alignment. So you have that, and here is the burr that we've all been waiting for. And again, there's that little divot there. But there's the burr. It actually has really short wings up here. Normally the wings extend down a little bit further, but on here they're pretty short. And they have two options with this. This is the soft burrs. So they have soft and fast. and one is at 198C, one is at 199C, and the difference is one of them grinds faster. So fast is obviously a little bit harder, and it allows you to grind faster. I have the soft burr here. So my review is going to be based off this because this is what I have, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and quickly reassemble this, and it should be back to true 0. All right, so we have that. Then we're going to place, so essentially what you have here is you, on the axle itself, so I've replaced the burr, but you see there's the divot here and on the burr, so we're going to have to align those two in order to shove this little piece of metal. Boop. Up. All right, so we have it reassembled, and now we're going to do just a quick brew with it, and we'll see how it tastes. So let's grind for filter now. I'm going to set, so the recommended grind setting from Mazzer is 10. I found that to be way too coarse for how I like to brew. And so in order to kind of push the extraction, I went down to like 9. So let's move this to 9 if we're not already there. Yeah, boom, we're at 9. So we're going to grind here. So I'm just going to pop in 15 grams of coffee. We're going to grind and we're going to brew. All right. So let's see how long this takes. I'm going to start my timer, and we're just going to like look at each other and go. I hope you're having a good day. I am. Just brewing some coffee. Filming, using a carbon fiber handle. This really nice, robust grinder. Feels good. I can feel how soft the burrs are too. They're pillowy, marshmallowy. It's kind of nice. Oh yeah. We're at about 30 seconds, still going. Remember, this is the soft burr set, so these are not made for speed. But it is what it is. It takes a little while to grind, but you know, it's kind of enjoyable. You have a good grip on there at that silicone grip. You're not worried about the catch cup because it's tight. It's pretty tight in there. And yeah, we're pretty much there. This is the burr set for those of you that aren't really in a rush. But then again, if you're using a hand grinder, I'm assuming you're not. And we are just shy of a minute. Oh, there was one more bean in there that needed to get in through. Maybe 2 more beans. All right. There we are. Good to go. Right around a minute. And there we go. All right. Now I'm going to clap, and the brew will be brewed with a brewed awakening. All right, so I brewed up a little calita of that coffee. It's a washed Guatemalan from Artificer. Take a little sip. So it's okay. This grinder, you know, through all of my testing, you know, I like to test things as much as possible. This one I've had for maybe 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So not as long as usual. I usually like to have 2 months minimum, but as of shooting this video, I'm moving to Portugal in 3 days, and I have to ship this back to the person in the U.S. that lent it to me. So I think this is the first one in the U.S., so I've got to get that back before I leave. So does a good job. It's similar to most every other hand grinder in the sense that you can't super push that extraction. It has a somewhat, it's similar to maybe the J Max, the EasyPresso J Max, maybe a little cleaner than like a Kinu with a standard burr set. So that's kind of the world it lives in, is right there. It's not quite to where the K Plus or the Comandante is. It's definitely not to where like a flat burr grinder would be. So it does have nice cleanliness, but it definitely favors a lot of those bigger, bolder notes, which is, you know, typical for Mazzer, right? They have a preference for that. They kind of push a lot of that in a lot of their grinders. So, but it's a good cup of coffee. The finish drops off, a little acrid. So it's one of those that you definitely want to listen to their advice on where to grind for pour over. But yeah, and then for espresso, we'll do a quick shot of that, and we'll talk about it. And I'll try to dial it in using these 33-step clicks, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to clap, and we'll be right there. All right, so it took about 1:22 to grind for that espresso, a minute and a half. Yeah, pull the shot. Still really hot, but yeah, you've got a nice full-bodied, you got good texture. You have, you know, a little bit of flavors, like a little bit of like, I guess a little bit of clarity is peeking through, but it's kind of low. And again, when I say clarity, I'm referring to like delineation of flavors. So for instance, on this bag, they say sugarcane, stone fruit, green apple. If it was high clarity, you would distinctly get sugarcane, stone fruit, green apple, assuming these tasting notes are accurate, right? So in this one, you have kind of like a muddled malic acidity that could be described as green apple, but it's not like, boom, like clearly green apple, like you just took a bite of a crisp green apple, right? You have some sweetness in it. I don't know if I would say it's sugarcane. Again, it's a little muddled, so it's more like a brown sugar, maybe panela, a little lighter than that. So you have kind of some of those pushing through, whereas on more, on a more uniform grind, you might have a little bit more clarity of that. Now I ground this just shy of setting number 5. Now Mazzer themselves suggest around 4, 5, 6 for espresso grind size, and below 4, just so you know, I tried grinding at about the 3rd click. I put a 20-gram dose in just to see what was going on, because that's close to the Ebrick. I ground for 5 minutes and maybe got a gram ground out. Actually, that was at 2, at grind setting 2. I went up to 3, and it took about 3 minutes, and I was able to get 20 grams out, but it was painful. But yeah, once you get up to 4, grinding it is a lot easier, and the times are a lot quicker. But it does get incredibly powdery. If you're willing to spend 10 minutes hand grinding, you can get straight up powder if you're grinding at the 2 setting or even less. But honestly, those settings are pretty much useless at that point. Something to kind of point out is, as you're grinding, because the step feature comes all the way down to here, you're prone to turn it if it spins at all in your hand. Like your finger can kind of twist it. See that? So there have been times when I was grinding where I changed the grind setting mid-grind, which is not ideal. Actually, I wish it was a little harder to twist it. I wish there was a little bit more resistance. That might be nice. But yeah, other than that, I think overall it feels really nice in the hand. The Burrs head in it is solid, but overall my big thoughts on this is that, honestly, other than the materials and like the build and honestly the novelty of this, which I'm still obsessed with, other than some of these small things, I'm not really seeing too much extra that Mazzer is bringing to the table by way of flavor. It's got great ergonomics. There's some things that could be improved, obviously. And again, my favorite thing is just how everything fits so perfectly in a small little package. But yeah, it's I don't know. This is going to come out over, I think, $300 US. It's, I think, 265 euros. I think there are better alternatives personally, but I could see, in the same way that a lot of people love, for instance, like the niche grinder because of the workflow, I could see a lot of people seeing this as a huge advantage because of the quality of the materials, quality of the build, the Mazzer name, and the carbon fiber handle, things like that. I can see why or how this would sell. So yeah, hopefully this review is helpful. If you have any questions, anything that I missed, please feel free to drop it below. I'm happy to answer when I have the time. And other than that, thanks for watching. I hope you brew something tasty, and cheers.